So Is He Real by IDK. One thing I really liked this album for was how well it was constructed. Like everything tied in together all throughout the album. Like it wasn't just like verse to verse in the same song. There were several running themes throughout the entirety of the album, and almost everything had a reason to be there. At that point, taste in music doesn't even come into it. Like if you don't like rap or that kind of rap, you may not enjoy listening to it, but you can see how tightly knitted this project is and how well it's been constructed. For example, the opening track in any type of album is very important. For people like you and I who are going to listen to the whole thing anyway, it sets the mood, the speed, and the context for the album. But for the everyday man or woman, the first track has to grab their attention. It has to make them think, what's next?
Yep.
Like, I want to stick around and find out what happens. The first track definitely does that. It's a kid explaining what happens when you die. He's getting super excited, explaining everything. He says there's a big line, so you're waiting, and you wait some more, and finally it's your turn. So you step up, and then you wake up because God isn't fucking real. And it's like a little kid saying this.
Yeah.
So then you're like, wait, what? And it really catches you off guard. No matter what your taste in music is, that's intriguing. And there's little things all throughout the album too. Like the first track is called Cloud Blue, but without the E, so it's BLU. And then the third track is the E in blue. Like that's what it's called. It's a spoken prayer from DMX talking about faith. So if you think about it, it's really fucking cool because the first track, the E is missing.
Yeah.
And then, the E in blue. What's also that's like what's missing in the first track, the E. What's also missing is what DMX is talking about, faith. Because he's talking about wake up, God isn't fucking real. Like that's missing from the first track. I thought that was like really well done. The second track, the one in between them, has him talking about how he's drowning in the chorus. And then during the third song, the spoken prayer, you can hear IDK in the background struggling to stay above water, which also ties into what DMX is saying about having faith. It's just everything ties into not only one other thing in the album, but usually several different things. And I don't know if you remember me saying this about the album when I reviewed it, but I said it once it gets about halfway through, the quality sort of drops off a little bit, which is why it's not number one. If it was this high quality all the way through, it'd 100% be number one. But I'll just point out a few more highlights throughout the album. But the first sort of 6 tracks is definitely the peak. The transition from Alone to 24 is just fucking good. I did play this a lot when I reviewed it. So this is the end of Alone. Start of 24. That's a bloody good transition. So shout out to him for that. I don't even know what he looks like, I just realised. Like, that was one of my favourite parts of the album when reviewing, just because like how flush it sounds. Also from 24 to the next one, Lily has a cool one. I don't know if he meant to do it or not, but at the end of 24, he says, run it back. And then at the start of Lily, he's got like a tape rewinding sound effect.
That is cool.
As if he's literally running it back. Most of the other highlights throughout the album aren't of like high quality, they're more just surface level. Like it just sounds good or it's hard. Like at the start of Porno, he says, the Bible say beating my dick and killing is equal, but that don't add up. Because the amount of times that I milk my shit, I'd probably be considered cereal. That's high quality. In I Do Me, You Do You, he's just talking to Tyler, the Creator, about what he believes in, trying to figure out if God is real or not. Tyler just believes you can believe in whatever you want. Doesn't have to be a religion. But he's still trying to figure out if God is real or not, and I would say that he's slowly coming over. He's still super skeptical because he ends that track with telling us today that a man built Noah's Ark is just as crazy as us telling a caveman we built robot bitches we can fuck.
There you go.
So he's basically just saying it's ridiculous. A couple of tracks later on European Skies, he's talking about a discussion that he had with a pastor. And in my opinion, it again shows an interest in like learning about religion and wanting to be a part of it, but he still has doubt. They say seeing is believing. Well, I don't see an angel nor demon. I demand explanation. The pastor says, for what reason? Well, pastor, your theory lacks reason. Meaning, when I ask Google the question, even Siri lacks speaking. It's semen. The sperm travelling to the egg makes more sense than Adam and Evenings of gospel. Your books speaketh of birth, but don't speak of the fossils.
There you go.
Which is really cool, and I really like the double Eric Andre's got there, like more sense than Adam and Evenings.
Yeah.
Like that's hard. That is fucking clever. After a few more lines, he starts pointing out some flaws in the story of religion. There must be a lot of room in heaven because only a baby is pure. So maybe we're born there. Maybe the division of religion would cause us to be torn there. Earth is so dirty. We come from the dust and the dirt from the earth. Earth is so dirty. We're told not to love worldly things, but we come from the dirt of the earth, and the earth is so worldly. So at this point, he's not only doubting it, he's also seeing plot holes in religion's explanations for things. But yet he's still expressing interest. The transition from European Skies to No Cable sounds so fucking bloody good. I'm going to play that as well. European Skies here. So this is the end of European Skies. Start of No Cable. Like, how does he do that? That's very talented. No Cable is definitely a highlight of the album as well. It's about society's short attention span to fixing problems. Everyone just jumps on one thing for a month or so, then completely forgets about it after they move on to the next thing. Like, how huge was Kony 2012?
Pretty big.
He was never caught.
Never
And, like, I can say it's been years since I thought of him. He points this out in a really clever way on the chorus. He was just a drug dealer. Record wasn't clean, so we see him as a thug neighbor. And then, like, a reporter comes in. Police describe the shooting victim as a known drug dealer. Change the channel. He was just a crazy man. He blew up the school just to motherfucking say he can. Reporter comes in. Students evacuating with their hands up. The suspect in the mass shoot. Change the channel. And he's just jumping in there saying change the channel. And it changes to another sort of like social issue that we need to sort of pay attention to and to fix. And he relates our short attention span to literally just finding something good on TV. While it doesn't directly relate to religion, like you definitely could sort of put a bit of a spin on it and say that, like, why has God made these problems? Like the whole, why did you give a baby cancer type of argument. And for those of you out there as well, this isn't me saying this is just my understanding of what IDK is saying. The last two songs are about his childhood and his mum. The last track specifically is about losing his mum, which isn't directly related to religion again, but it could also be spun in a way to relate to it. They are absolutely beautiful songs, though. At the end of the last track, he's got a little spoken word outro. He asks his friend to describe a colour without using other colours. Now, I'm not going to get into this discussion with you because we disagree and you're wrong.
What is it?
But
I wasn't paying attention.
That you can't describe a colour without using other colours.
Yeah, you can, mate.
I'm not getting into discussion.
Mate, it's been proven, mate.
I'm not getting into the discussion.
Mate, it's been proven, mate. I'm not the one coming up with it, mate. I read something about it, mate.
Anyway, he's talking to his friend, and he says, describe a colour without using another one. His friend says, I can't do that. Then he brings up the classic, is my red the same as your red? Because you can't describe colour, you're sort of just like, that's red. So that I've always just been told that's red. Like, I just take it at surface level. I can't, like, ask any more questions about it. And, yeah, we could just be seeing completely different things. And then he, at the end of the track, and the whole album as well, he ends it with, if we're not advanced enough, like society, humanity, whatever you want to call it, or technology, to say that, like, to know if we actually even see the same colours, then how can we say there is no God? So there was never any conclusion or decision on whether or not he believes God is real, and he has since tweeted that there was no conclusion because it's not time for a conclusion. But considering he said, how can you say there's no God, rather than how can we say there is a God, makes me think that he's sort of leaning towards believing in something. But it's a great album. I love how beautifully constructed it was. Everything tied in with another thing. It was, yeah, compositionally, the quality is fucking top notch. So that easily deserves number 2 of the year.